Think about this for a second. The entire incredibly complex blueprint for every living thing, from a tiny bacterium to a massive blue whale, is written using just 4 letters: A, T, C, and G. But have you ever really wondered why? Why only 4?
I mean, with all the complexity in the world, 4 letters seems way too simple, right? How can that simple code build, well, everything? So that's what we're going to dig into. We're going to play detective and try to unravel this fundamental biological mystery.
All right, so to crack this case, we have to start with the rules of the game. How does life manage to store so much information so perfectly for so long? The secret, it turns out, is hidden in the very structure of DNA itself.
And this is where it gets really cool, with an idea from the famous physicist Erwin Schrödinger. He imagined that life's code must be stored in something he called an aperiodic crystal. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means the stability of a crystal so the information doesn't just fall apart. But unlike a crystal, its pattern can't repeat, otherwise it couldn't carry a message. It's a brilliant idea he had before we even knew what DNA looked like.
And here is the beautiful chemistry that makes it work. Now, don't get bogged down by the diagrams. The big idea is super simple: how these molecules pair up. A always and only fits with T, and C always fits with G. They're like perfect little puzzle pieces. This strict pairing is what makes every single rung on the DNA ladder the exact same width. And that uniformity, that consistency, is what gives DNA its crystal-like stability.
Okay, so the structure is stable. It works. But that still doesn't answer our big question. Why only 4 letters? Why not 2, or 6, or even 10? Well, it turns out that 4 is an evolutionary sweet spot. It's the just right solution to what you could call the Goldilocks dilemma.
Let's just look at the extremes for a second. If you only had 2 letters, your genetic instruction book would have to be incredibly long to hold all the same information. It's just not very efficient. But if you have too many letters, say 6 or 8, you run into a different and honestly a much scarier problem: mistakes. Every time a cell divides and copies its DNA, more letters mean more chances to get it wrong. And those errors can be fatal. So it all comes down to this perfect balance. I love how Reddit user the Astro Boy put it here. 4 bases seems to hit that sweet spot. It allows for enough complexity to build you and me, but it's simple enough that our cell's machinery can copy it over and over with amazing accuracy. It's the ultimate trade-off between storing information and making sure that information doesn't get corrupted.
But what if it's not all about being chemically perfect? There's another really interesting theory that goes hand in hand with this Goldilocks idea. What if it all just came down to being in the right place at the right time? A bit of cosmic chance?
This is what's known as the frozen accident theory. The idea is that way back in the primordial soup, the 4-base system might not have been the absolute best option out there. But it worked. It was good enough, and it got started first. And once all the complex machinery of the cell evolved around that specific 4-letter system, well, it was basically locked in. It was frozen. Sometimes evolution doesn't find the perfect solution, it just sticks with the first one that gets the job done.
So it seems like the answer is a mix of that perfect chemical balance and a lucky historical accident. And for billions of years, that accident has been frozen solid. But, and this is where the story gets really wild, what if we could thaw it out? Because modern science is doing exactly that. We're starting to rewrite the rules of life. Yep, welcome to the incredible world of synthetic biology. Researchers are no longer just reading the book of life, they're actually adding entirely new letters to its alphabet, designing and building brand new DNA bases from scratch in the lab. And the really clever part is how they're doing it. They're not breaking nature's rules, they're following them. Check out these new synthetic pairs: C, which pairs with P, and S, which pairs with B. Just like the originals, these new guys are designed to be perfect partners, keeping that same exact width across the DNA ladder. They're built to fit right into that stable aperiodic crystal structure. So, by adding these new pairs in with the original 4, scientists have created something incredible. A stable, working genetic system with, get this, 8 letters. It's called Hachimoji DNA, which is Japanese for 8 letters. And this is the proof in the pudding. This image from X-ray crystallography shows that Hachimoji DNA forms that same perfect double helix we all know and love. It means the structure is sound. It works, proving that life's hard drive can actually be expanded. But okay, it looks right, but can it actually do anything useful? The answer is a huge yes. In a breakthrough experiment, scientists use this 8-letter code to produce a molecule that literally glows.
This proves it's not just a cool model in a computer, it's a functioning genetic system that can be read and used to build real things, just like the DNA in our own cells.
Look, the creation of Hachimoji DNA is a massive deal. It confirms the chemical logic behind why nature chose 4 bases, but it also completely shatters the idea that 4 is some kind of unbreakable biological law. So, what does this all mean for the future?
Well, the possibilities are just staggering. With more letters, we could store information way more densely. Think about fitting every book in the Library of Congress onto a speck of dust. We could design tiny nanomachines that build themselves, create completely new kinds of medicines, and develop amazing tools to understand diseases. We are on the verge of being able to program life itself in high definition.
So, in the end, when we ask why 4 bases, the answer is that it was the just right solution that got frozen in time at the dawn of life. But the most exciting part of this whole story is that it's not frozen anymore. We've opened the door to a future with a much bigger alphabet. And now the only real question left is, what will we write in life's next chapter?